What are some lessons from the current Florida homeowners insurance crisis? Whether you live in Florida or you live elsewhere, it's important to be aware of what's happening with the homeowners insurance market in the state of Florida. And for those of you that don't know, basically what happened is Florida homeowners insurance rates are increasing dramatically. Look, we all have increases in our insurance every year. It may be 5%, maybe 10%, maybe, 40, $50. In Florida, insurance rates in the last 2 years, in many cases, have more than doubled, sometimes tripled. We've seen policies that were $800 a year, the next year went to $1,800 a year, and the next year went to $2,800 a year. So in 2 or 3 years, it went up by a factor of 4. Why is this? Are the insurance companies ripping people off? Well, probably not. The reason we know that is because many insurance companies, even with those rate increases, are going out of business. They're going bankrupt, meaning they're paying more out in claims than they're taking in premiums. How could that be if their rates are going up? Well, behind the scenes, what's happening is there is a huge increase in the number of claims, many of them probably fraudulent. Well, what is it about Florida that's making that happen? Well, there's one small factor is the mindset in Florida is a little bit different than most parts of the country. It's a little bit more, how should we say, ambitious. People are always trying to get an advantage and trying to find angles and find loopholes to do things. That's always been the case. That's a subject for another video. But something specific happened a few years ago in the Florida insurance market. There was a scenario where homeowners thought that they were getting ripped off by insurance companies, or even to the point, not so much ripped off, they just had to pay too much on roof replacement. So what would happen is there would be a windstorm, a hurricane, heavy wind, rain, and a roof would be damaged. Some shingles ripped off, maybe a tree fell on it, maybe some tile shingles were cracked. And the homeowner would go to the insurance claim process and say, look, I need a roof repair. And the insurance company would say, okay, your roof, has a few shingles messed up, some cracks in the concrete tile. So we're going to do a claim amount for $2,800 to repair it. And they would go to a roofing company, and the roofing company would say, wait a minute, we have to replace the whole roof. We can't match your shingles. There's damage underneath. And there would be a conflict between the insurance company, the roofing company, and the property owner. So in order to try to do a knee-jerk reaction, the government of the state of Florida passed a law that said, look, if you have more than 20% or 25% damage to your roof, your insurance company has to buy you a brand new entire roof. Period. And in addition to that, if the insurance company does not act in good faith and they try to fight back and they try to give you the runaround, you can sue them for the price of your roof. In addition, the insurance company has to pay all your attorney's fees, because what the government was trying to do is prevent the insurance companies from hiring, their own internal corporate lawyers to drag out a case where the legal fees for the homeowner would be more than the roof anyway, so they would just never file a case. They said, if you file a case as a homeowner, the insurance company has to pay for your roof, pay for your attorney's fees, and pay some penalties. So it kind of put the power back in the hands of the homeowner. In addition, they added one more little trickery to the rule, to the law. They said, as a homeowner, you may not know how to navigate this process of roofing, of insurance claims, of determining value. So we want to make it easier for you to do. So if you want to, you can assign your case to a contractor, meaning that you can let the roofing company deal with all this hassle for you. You do what's called an AOB, or assignment of benefits. Sign it over to the roofing company. The roofing company will take care of everything. They'll contact your insurance company. They'll negotiate your roof. They'll do all the legal process needed, and that way you don't have to worry about it. Try to make it easy for you. Great. Okay. Sort of sounds reasonable, but I bet if you're a smart person, you know where this is going. What happened is roofing companies looked at this as a huge windfall, a huge opportunity. So what they did was they started actually prospecting, not waiting for somebody to call them. They went going knocking on doors, sending out mailers to homeowners, said, look, we'll just get you a new roof. Let us come take a look. And they would send their inspector, appraiser, look at your roof. They would find some damage. They would say, yep, that damage probably happened from the hurricane 2 years ago. Sign this benefit transfer, assignment of benefits to us. We'll take care of everything. No money out of your pocket, no hassle. You don't have to do anything. Now, the roofing company has your assignment of benefits. They're authorized to speak on your behalf to your insurance company. It's almost like a power of attorney you're giving to a roofing company. Now, they call your insurance and say, hey, guess what? We're at 12 Main Street. It needs a brand new roof. Roof's going to cost $50,000. You better write us a check. And the insurance company looks at it and says, no, this roof is barely even damaged. It's just minor wear and tear. Maybe it's worth a couple grand, but no, too bad. If you don't pay, we're going to take you to court. You're going to lose the lawsuit, and you have to pay another $50,000 in legal fees. So you might as well just settle. So the insurance companies were between a rock and a hard place. They could either fight these fraudulent inflated claims and potentially lose 2 or 3 times the value of just replacing the roof, or just give in. So many of them decided to give in, just pay. Some of them fought and they lost some of these cases in court. Even if you win a few, the ones you lose are going to cost you more than double 2 or 3 times. So it's almost like it's not worth trying. So that started happening 3 or 4, even longer, 4 or 5 years ago. Well, now the cost of these claims payments start to work them way through the system. And the insurance companies have to calculate their insurance premiums based on how much claims they paid out in prior years. So in the past, if they put on, 1 in a million new roofs, well, that's your insurance rate is $800 a year. If now they're finding they're putting on new roofs every day for $50,000, $60,000, now they have to adjust their insurance premium accordingly on everybody, not just the person that got the new roof. They have to divide it up accordingly. That's what insurance does. In fact, the statutes for states and proper capital reserves require that as an insurance company, you look at your previous claims and use that as a basis for calculating premiums. So that's what they do. Now these premiums are through the roof. One other factor that has affected this is if you're a roofing company and a roof normally would cost, let's say, $25,000 to replace a whole roof, whether it needed it or not, and you are of a mindset that you're going to be out trying to scam insurance companies and scam homeowners to sign over their benefits, and the going rate of a roof is, let's say, $25,000, what do you think your rate for a roof is going to be? If you're already of the mindset to try to work the system, do you think you're going to charge normal market rates for your roof, or are you going to jack it up a little bit? Maybe it's $35,000, $40,000, $50,000 for the same roof that 3 years ago cost $25,000. Because you know that you have the insurance company over a barrel. That affected the claims payout. And of course, in the last couple years, with inflation and the cost of materials, prices have gone up anyways on roofs. A lot of roofs are made out of asphalt shingles. Asphalt is made largely out of petroleum, oil, which has gone up. So that has what's gone into the Florida insurance crisis. How does that affect you? What does it have to do with you if you live in Iowa? How does that affect you if you live in Texas? Well, it doesn't necessarily affect you directly, but what it does do is it gives insurance companies some pause to look at what are the potential risks that might come up in other parts of the country. They didn't see this coming. So maybe they look at things in your particular area that might be potential risks. If you're in Colorado and there were forest fires and wildfires, maybe they're seeing that, even though we don't have the same risk, there's laws that require that we do certain claims adjusting for wildfire victims. We better be careful. Or how does it affect materials costs in other parts of the country? If all of a sudden the state of Florida is replacing 10 times more roof completions that were being done before, that takes materials away from other parts of the country, creates inflation, and jacks up materials costs elsewhere. We're already seeing that. Asphalt shingles is a national product. So if the volume is going up in Florida, that takes away product from other parts of the country and raises the prices. It also gives a roadmap to similar type of processes elsewhere. There has already been some attempts, some of them have been successful, to this assignment of benefits mechanism in other states. In the state of Arizona, there have already been some changes to laws which give builders and contractors and roofers some authority to leverage insurance companies that might raise prices. Now, this recent insurance crisis is maybe giving legislative bodies some caution on doing more of that, but it's a trade-off. May not be as significant of an effect as you might think. So if you live in other parts of the country, be aware of this, because any of these factors could be like a virus that could expand and be contagious to other parts of the country. Even to the point of insurance companies having to share their rates nationally. Sometimes insurance companies use national rate calculations or actuarial analytics to come up with rates elsewhere. You may not see it, but if your rates go up, that could be part of it. Last but not least, the overall general inflation of building materials and delays can affect your insurance rates. If the insurer knows, even with the same claims percentage, the same number of events, if a house is going to cost 20% more to reconstruct because of inflation of lumber, materials, and labor, they have to figure that in. What's the moral or punchline of this story? Well, we're seeing more people in Florida now going without insurance. And how can you do that? Well, insurance is not a legal requirement on a residence. Most states have requirement of insurance on motor vehicles, but on your resident property, your home, you don't have to have insurance. If you have a mortgage, your mortgage company probably will require you to have a proper casualty insurance product. Matter of fact, they will. It's not probably, they definitely will. But there's a lot more people have purchased houses for cash lately. And if you own your house for cash or you paid off your mortgage, you don't have to have insurance. There's people that are looking at, well, my insurance premium for my house is $7,000 a year. I'm just not going to have insurance, and I'll save that money, and God forbid something happens to my house, I'll have the money saved up, and I'll just self-insure. May or may not be a valid financial decision. I mean, the downside is if your house gets completely wiped out in a hurricane, you're never going to save up enough money to fix it. But if you save up 4 or 5 years and have $40,000 in the bank, and you have a tree fall on your roof, you could probably fix it with that $40,000, because you can eliminate the potential from fraud or the cost of fraud from your lifestyle because you're insulating yourself from the insurance market. The other problem with self-insuring is there are other insurance coverages that come with your homeowner's policy. Liability insurance, somebody sues you, somebody slips and falls, right? Those kind of things are covered. Also, in the insurance industry, it's a good idea to get an umbrella insurance policy which covers over your existing policy that gives you excess limits. And it's really cheap. If you already have a homeowner's policy, you can buy, $5 million worth of umbrella coverage for a couple $100 a year usually. And that's good coverage. That's a really good deep pocket to protect your assets. If you do not have a homeowner's policy, you may not be able to get that umbrella coverage. You're just relying on your auto policy for your coverage of your whole life. So there's disadvantages to that strategy. But if you are a homeowner or even a renter, be aware of the things that are happening in Florida because they could eventually affect your neck of the woods. It's like a canary in the coal mine. And it's not going to get any better soon. The Florida legislature has been made aware of this crisis and are trying to come up with ways to solve it, but not urgent enough to where they're dropping everything. This video is being recorded in April of 2022. It appears that the earliest session that they could take this up as a matter is about a year from now, early 23. So for the next year, these high insurance rates are going to be affecting homeowners. And there's no solution in sight. And even if they do change the laws, it may take a while for the results of those, or the effects of those, to kick in and lower the insurance rates again. So be aware of things happening in other parts of the country, even if it doesn't currently directly affect you. And I'll give you a heads up to avoid possible problems later on.